Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm asking the question, what are you attracting? I'm going to be doing our reading using card counting, which is a method that I think goes back to the Order of the Golden Dawn. It's basically a style of reading where you pick a significator, which in this case is the Queen of Wands, and then you basically count out the cards that you're going to use in the reading. The reason I chose the Queen of Wands is because the reading is all about what you're attracting toward you, and I feel like the Queen of Wands is often portrayed as a very attractive energy. And even if we don't exactly resonate with this energy in our everyday lives, we all kind of have that attractive potential within us. So I wanted to use different representations of this court cards character in different decks to just see what you're pulling toward you. If you have any questions about card counting, you can always ask, by the way, and I'm also going to, I'll put like a link to it in the description if you want to check out more about it. But basically, each card in a tarot deck is assigned a numerical value, and like for example, the queens are all 4s. Kings and knights are 4s as well, but pages are 7. So it's a bit strange to watch, but it is a really interesting way of pulling tarot cards, and I like it a lot. So hopefully you'll like it too. Here is group 1. It's a Queen of Wands in the Crystal Tarot. Group 2 is going to be the Queen of Wands in the Tarot de Fuego. And then group 3 is going to be the Witch of Wands in the Tarot of the Crone. There's no Queen of Wands in the Tarot of the Crone, so I feel like this Witch of Wands is kind of a mixture of the energy of a queen and a knight. It's just a really interesting card, so I'm looking forward to doing that reading. Yeah, so this is a general reading, of course, so watch as many groups as you feel called to. If you like more than one, go for it. If not, then that's cool too. I'll see you in the reading. Hi, welcome if you chose group 1, the Queen of Wands in the beautiful Crystal Tarot. So like I said in the intro, I'm using this as a significator to describe how you attract things toward you. It's a certain part of your psyche. We all have the Queen of Wands within us. The Knight of Wands just popped out as well, so you might really have a lot of fiery energy naturally, or be working really hard to attract something towards you. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna shuffle it in there, and it might take a while, so feel free to fast forward because I'm not gonna rush. I feel like these kind of readings, the shuffling does take a little bit longer, so feel free to skip forward. I'm just asking, what is group 1 attracting toward themselves at this time? I keep seeing the Queen of Cups show up on my camera, so that's interesting. You might be in a very emotional state of mind right now. So now we just find the significator. There she is. And we're gonna count. Away we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's the Queen of Cups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fools 3. Ooh, we got a lot of queens on the board. 2, 3. So you might be in more of, definitely more of a more attractive state of mind right now. I'll show you all the cards in a second. I'm just going to get them out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, this is, I'm gonna have to change some of the configuration here. This isn't gonna fit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 3 6s out here as well, so that's very interesting. We'll get into that. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's going to be the last card. Because even though aces are 1s, they have a numerical value of 11 when card counting. I don't know why. So it's going to take a second for me to just rearrange the cards so they fit in frame. Okay, so I'll show you the top row first. Usually you don't get as many cards with card counting, but you got very little major arcana. So yeah, a lot of what's happening right now is mostly within your own power, although there are 2 major water arcana here, so I think some really deep, heavy emotional undercurrents are affecting this situation first of all. So obviously we have the significator here, the Queen of Wands. Next to that we have the Moon, the Queen of Cups, and the Fool. So yeah, just in your top row you have 2 major arcana. So definitely what I'm seeing is that, so the Queen of Wands is usually a very, like in this deck, if you'll notice, I always am drawn to the little arrow under her feet. She's someone who plans and balances her energy internally and is very, very focused, a very focused planner, someone with a lot of abundance around her who doesn't have any problems attracting what she wants toward her. But with the Moon here and the Queen of Cups, I feel like lately you maybe have been affected by some really intense emotional undercurrents that have sort of distracted you from other areas of your life, other areas of focus, and sort of made you want to strike out in an entirely new direction. Maybe you're wanting to move back towards something from your past. I just say that because the Moon, the Queen of Cups, all these Cups cards, and the Chariot down here are giving me like really big Cancer vibes more than anything. And I think a lot of times Cancers can be very affected by serious bouts of nostalgia. So maybe you're wanting to focus on bringing in all kinds of abundance and new energy into your life, but you keep getting pulled back to this old energy. Like it just keeps sort of resurfacing and putting you in sort of a softer, more nostalgic, and also kind of more optimistic state of mind, possibly. Like I definitely feel like you're wanting to make a big, bold move in a new direction. It might not be. It's just something that emotionally calls to you very strongly, and I just get the nostalgia vibe. Well, also from the Six of Cups as well. Yeah, no, I definitely get a nostalgia vibe. If I were to guess, I'd say either you're being called towards something that you left behind, or sort of like an ideal you had when you were younger that you never got to fulfill. And now, for some reason, like that nostalgia button is getting pressed in your consciousness. That sort of Neptunian longing is like starting to pull at you, because I think the Moon represents Pisces, and then the Eight of Cups also corresponds to Pisces. So big Pisces Cancer energy on the board so far. With the Queen of Cups here though, it does show me that at least you're kind of, the way you're reacting to your emotions is you're wanting to sort of not necessarily control them, but you're wanting to be very rational. You're wanting to understand your emotions, and you're wanting to think before you act. You're wanting to be objective. Sort of cultivate some self-awareness and examine what you're feeling. You don't want to go straight into this activated Fool energy of like rushing towards something. And the theme of this reading is what you're attracting towards you, not necessarily what you're chasing. So you may on an emotional level want to chase something, but like what you're doing is more you're taking a step back and you're examining your emotions. With the Six of Cups, yeah, there's obviously a really strong pull. Oh, I forgot to show you the cards. I'm sorry. I was in the juju. Here's the Queen of Swords. You can see she's in the waters, so she's emotionally literate, this Queen of Swords. And she's not like completely dry and repressed. The Six and the Eight of Cups, which you see visually correspond to each other in this deck. They kind of, it's interesting because the Seven of Cups looks totally different, but you skipped over that, so there is kind of like a flow from the 6 to the 8. The Four of Wands and the Ace of Coins. So with the 6 going into the 8, what I'm feeling is that like this feeling, this ideal or this nostalgic feeling, this pull towards something sort of really like a pure sort of emotional pull that isn't like necessarily a realistic goal or anything, but just something that really speaks to your heart. It's sort of been gestating in you for such a long time that it's kind of like your emotional headspace. It's like getting crowded, like it's been in there a really long time, and it's starting to feel less simple and sweet, and is more starting to take on like, it's almost starting to go sour, and not in a bad way, but it's like it's just been like unlived for such a long time that it's starting, instead of being like a sweet, beautiful image in your mind, it's now starting to be something that causes you pain because you don't have it. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog. He's a maniac. Anyways, so you're wanting to take steps forward to sort of, with this Queen of, I'm gonna let him stop. With this Queen of Wands energy, you're wanting to take steps to actually build up a space to bring this into your life and actually bring it into, to actually manifest it. So you're actually, it looks like from this row, I think you're handling the energy very well. Sorry, my dog is distracting the hell out of me. Could you lay down, please? No. Okay, sorry. Okay, good. He's settled. Sorry. My dog has really, he has emotional needs. He distracts me very easily. So yeah, you're sort of utilizing your emotional intelligence. You're aware of the fact that this thing that you really, really want, that you're really, really pulled toward, and it feels definitely emotional or romantic in nature, that you have to kind of create a space for it in your life, that it can't be like brought into your world immediately. It's like you have to give it time to sort of emerge from the depths with this moon card. That's the vibe I'm getting. And that it'll take a lot of focus and will for you to actually manifest the opportunity for it, the actual real physical opportunity for the thing you've been hoping for. But it looks like with all these queens, I see your manifestation and gestation potential as being very strong. Like you feel very well equipped to bring this into maturity, into reality. It's a very balanced energy, actually. It's like, I don't feel that you want to stay in this Eight of Cups sort of crowded, dissatisfied, almost like bittersweet longing energy. You'd want to move. You want to be productive. I feel that. And so down here we have the Chariot. So again, on a subconscious level, you're feeling like deeply driven. The Six of Coins, the Six of Wands, Seven of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. So whatever this is, you do genuinely, like there is an opportunity coming up is what I'm seeing with two aces, and they're under each other, and they're under the Fool. These all have kind of the same energy of like the opportunity for a fresh start. Something will present itself, excuse me. Also, this is a 7. I'm just noticing we have 7, 6, 6, 7. You have a lot of, I don't know if those numbers mean anything to you, 76 or 67, but that's just interesting. If you're like the type of person who looks out for certain numbers, that could be confirmation for you. Anyways, yeah, so with the Chariot, yeah, I do think that an opportunity is moving toward you. I think you just need to stay focused on moving forward, though, and being productive in your own life. Whatever you want, leave a space for it, but focus more on balancing your own energy, because basically the Chariot is going to come to you when it comes to you, and I think the more you balance your own internal energy, the easier that path will be. And I do see that with these 2 6s. These are both very balanced shapes. The 6 of coins is kind of like the energy is halfway above the surface and halfway underground. So it's kind of like you're at a midpoint. These are both like definite midpoint energies. So it's like there's a certain amount of patience required here. And it's a 6-pointed star, which is the star of the macrocosm, which means that the situation's kind of out of your hands at this time. It's not time to, you've sown your seeds, it's not time to reap them, so you're in a bit of a midpoint. I think the Golden Dawn does associate the 6 with the sphere of victory, though. I believe so. Anyways, so yeah, I do see, like, with this card, I always see this as like the sun rising, like the beginning of solar power sort of starting to manifest in your life. And I kind of got that vibe here too. It's like you're balancing your energy and it's starting to rise up. It's very, very balanced. The danger here with the danger here is that, you see with this moon sort of piercing down, and this looks like sort of a sun, but I also just see this as being the ego. I think, yeah, if you see, these both have this square motif, which is like a very balanced shape. It's a very strong, I mean, it's weird to say it's a strong shape, but it's a very balanced shape. The only problem is sometimes we create boxes and we put ourselves in them to keep us safe. And the thing is like, with this moon energy, I think it can be very overwhelming and it can make you feel more vulnerable than you necessarily want to feel. It's not always easy to be the Queen of Cups. She's a very vulnerable person, a very open person, and sometimes she gets really hurt because of that. But the thing is there's no real protection against this moon energy. With both the moon and the Chariot here, this emotional energy, you're feeling it for a reason, because this sort of dream or ideal wants to be dealt with or expressed or lived out in some way. It wants to be acknowledged. And if you try to sublimate those feelings, I think they are going to they're going to find a way to pierce through. Like, you can't really protect your ego. So there's just a warning here with the Queen of Swords, is we do need to stay in touch with our emotions and embrace our vulnerability. And with 3 queens here, I think that is also a message, is that queens don't, the thing that's great about the queens is that they don't need to pretend to be really tough or powerful. They just kind of, they exist in their own body as themselves in a very open way, and then that is their source of power. There's no need to sort of posture, there's no machismo. It's a very understated energy. And I do think that that is where your power can come from, because there's no other core cards here. I saw the Knight of Cups, I saw the Knight of Wands flash, but it didn't come out, so it was also reversed. So yeah, you don't need to run toward anything, you don't need to sort of be aggressive, you don't need to be activated. Your power is here with both of these aces, your potential is all here. It's about balancing the energy, staying in touch with these big emotional undercurrents. They might feel really overwhelming, but it's kind of like, if possible, if you can find a way to process them, either through like journaling, talking to a friend. With all these queens here, you could have a really strong emotional support system that you can reach out to. So I would definitely say, especially with the Fool here, don't be afraid to reach out to talk to someone. And with the Queen of Swords, I think journaling and talking are great ways to process whatever you might be feeling, whatever you might be called toward. And even if that doesn't work for you, even just something like working out, anything to help. If you're a person who processes emotions more through movement, then I would say go do that, because you are in a very powerful energy. But it's just, I think with queens, you want to keep your flow going. Don't let emotions get boxed in or stoppered. Because I think, yeah, water is the most powerful energy in this reading, keeping the flow going for sure. So, yeah, I'm just gonna I think that's good. I'm just gonna ask for a few cards from my Alice in Wonderland deck, see if there's any advice that could help you manifest whatever it is you're moving toward. Interesting. So we have the Queen of Wands again. She came out with the 10 of Wands. Sorry, did I say Queen of Wands? We have the Queen of Swords, which in this deck is the Queen of Flamingos. And she came out with the 10 of Wands. So I definitely see that as a message to not take on too much. You don't need to overburden yourself or think that you have to shoulder whatever problems you're having by yourself. That's not going to benefit you ultimately. It's going to sap your energy, and we're trying to get this energy really balanced, because it's through this balance that the actual opportunity for whatever you want can manifest itself. So definitely, I think you need to stay in touch with your emotions as much as possible. I know it can feel really threatening when you're going through a really emotional period of your life, but I don't know, like, with all this Cancer energy, I think there's something very, very powerful about your emotion as like a manifestation engine, because that's why Cancers can be such powerful manifestors, is that they have such a powerful emotional engine at the core of them. And once they learn to use that engine for their own greatest good, then they can really manifest incredible situations, incredible abundance. So you've got the Sun reversed. So I think, yeah, this Sun card is definitely, you might be going through a period of feeling really unhappy. Like, even if what you have in your life is enough, you might compare it to the ideals you have in your mind and feel like there's just so much lacking. That feeling of, like, you know, when Humpty Dumpty falls and he can never be put together again. You might need to manage your expectations in terms of what your ideal is. You might need to, yeah, I mean, like, maybe whatever past energy you're dwelling in can't ever be put back together again the way it was originally. But that doesn't mean that you can't manifest something new and beautiful, or manifest a new start. Re-encounter that energy in a new form. Because we can always rebuild. We've got the King of Flamingos. So with the Queen of Swords here and the King of Swords here, this does feel particularly romantic. Yeah, that is what I'm getting, honestly. There might be someone from your past you want to see again. Or again, this could just be like, again, the King of Swords is a very idealistic sort of character. He's focused on, he can be very focused on the letter of the law. So you might be a bit of a perfectionist here. You might be a little bit unyielding, and that could be an issue with this. So, I don't know. Let's see. Can we clarify the King of Swords? Anything? Can you tell me more about what he's here for? It's our first non-queen court card to pop up. Okay. Okay, you got the Magician and the High Priestess. Yeah, what I see here is that there's great manifestation potential. I'm seeing this Magician pulling a rabbit out of the hat. So yeah, I do think, instead of thinking of the world as this place that doesn't give you what you want, or always falls short of your dreams and hopes, you need to take creative power into your own hands and trust that you can pull whatever you need out of the hat if you focus your energy. Yeah. This is Lewis Carroll on this card as well, so like I just see incredible creative potential. And then the High Priestess as well is like, but it's not just, it's not the sort of, I don't want to say dry creative potential, the Magician, but the Magician corresponds to Mercury, so it can be a little bit on the more intellectual, airy side again. The reason the Magician came out with the High Priestess is because your intuition is incredibly important. With the High Priestess, you have like all the water major arcana on the board, the Moon, the High Priestess, and the Chariot. So again, you need to work with your emotional ebb and flow. You need to work with your yin energy. I definitely see you need to balance yin and yang. That might be why the King and Queen are here, is like, you need to balance your active, sort of intellectual side with your more flowing yin side. And I just would say don't underestimate the power of the yin side of you, because I do think that is where all the energy is coming from. That's what's fueling this Magician energy right now. So yeah, I'm seeing an incredible sort of attractive, abundant potential. The Ace of Flamingos on the bottom of the deck. Whatever I would say your words have power here, and you might be, I would look into affirmations or journaling, or just be careful what you say to yourself in your mind, because again, the Queen, the King, the Magician, which corresponds to Mercury, all this Swords energy is telling me that your words are very, very powerful. So take that emotional engine, those waters of the subconscious, and think of what you most want, your highest ideal. Allow yourself to dream that. Don't be like, oh, it's broken and no one can ever put it together again. Let that go, because that is not serving you. And use that, use your creative potential, your emotional potential, and speak it into existence, because I think your words are very, very powerful here. Yeah, and that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, then I'm sorry. Bye. Hiya Group 2. This is your reading if you chose the beautiful Queen of Wands in the Tarot of Fuego. Big titty tree woman. So, as I said in the intro, your reading may come across very fiery, because I'm using the Queen of Wands as your significator. So we all have the Queen of Wands somewhere in our psychological makeup. We all have I think the Queen of Wands in this deck is probably the most passive Queen of Wands, the most attractive, so I'm interested to see how your reading goes. I'm going to shuffle on camera, so it might take a while. Feel free to skip. We gotta find the significator, which sometimes takes a very long time. Oh, it better not be bottom deck energy, I swear to God. Okay. There she is. Okay. So, get that in camera maybe, shall we? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, big energy. 11. Ruh-roh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. the moon. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay. At the very end, we're coming into some lovely little cards. Okay, let me... I don't know. Did you get 14 cards as well? If only I could do math. You got... Come on, brain. Yes, 14 cards. That was really hard for me. Okay, let me move things around, see if I can... I'm always rearranging my desk so much when I do these, and it bothers me, but that's okay. Can I fit 7 cards in frame? Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, I can do it. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, beautiful. I hope it doesn't look like my desk is on fire, because I just see that really intense smoke rising. Okay. Woo! It's not on fire. Alright, so you are in a very attractive energy right now, that from what I'm seeing. Well, okay, you're kind of like in a push-pull energy. I see it as you're like a little bit repellent as well, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. Because, I mean, so... Yeah, obviously with all these, the symbolism of all these tits on this tree is just that, like, obviously the Queen of Cups has a lot of love to give. Like, I see this Queen of Cups as being one of the most sort of partner-oriented Queen of Cups cards in any deck that I have. Yeah, I see her as someone who works really well in a dyad, who really naturally embodies the yin energy with the tree here. She, like, puts her roots down and she grows something beautiful. She will work really well in dyad with a partner who's more active. But with the 8 of Wands being underneath it, I see all this love down here. You may be holding this strong, attractive love deep within your core, but then you built some really intense walls up, and you're just kind of like, it's this little house, like just peeking out, like you're like, come and get me, but you seem very, very formidably protected. And I do think it makes sense given that the devil energy is here. With this storm card, I think you're very wary of bringing in the wrong energy, of bringing the wrong, yeah, maybe in the past you've like let in the wrong people, and so that's why you're scared of, as much as you want to bring something or someone into your life, you're also kind of pushing them back. So there's this really strong like push-pull energy here. Yeah, with the devil, I think, yeah, either in the past or currently you're feeling very strongly drawn towards something. I'll just show you the devil card. It's a really, really intense devil. Underneath it is the 9 of Wands. So, and what's really interesting in this configuration, I don't know how well you can see it, but one of these heads is looking up at the devil, and the other one is looking back at the 8 of Wands, the castle. So part of you is wanting to stay where you know you're safe, and part of you is maybe feeling really intensely drawn towards someone or something. I'm trying not to assume it's a person, because you got like all of these cards down here. It does feel a bit more on the romantic side, but it doesn't have to be a person. Whatever you're drawn toward, though, I think it feels like it has a lot of power over you, and so because of that, you feel repelled because you're afraid of being you're afraid of being vulnerable. You're afraid of how desire can. Sometimes when we really want something, it can make us feel really disempowered because we know that whatever that thing is, it could reject us or prove to be impossible or like let us down, be disappointing in the end. So it's easier to stay walled up where we know that we're safe. But I'm seeing with Justice here. So you got Justice with 7 of Swords underneath it. And obviously I'm seeing the Lion on both cards. So I'm feeling that like whatever it is that you're attracting, whatever you're attracting, I think is equally attractive to you. This feels like it does kind of feel like a person. Or it's just a situation that calls to you as much as you're trying to call it toward you. And there's a reason for that. With Justice, it's like there is kind of something either karmic or guided about this connection, or impulse, or attraction. I think that whatever you're being pulled... Sorry, somebody just called me. So yeah, I was just saying, whatever this, I feel like in this case it feels less like you're attracting something to you on purpose or consciously, and more like something's attractive to you but you refuse to move toward it, so then you're just kind of in this weird attraction repulsion wavelength almost. Like you're putting your roots in and you're not moving, so it's being pulled to you instead of the other way around. But whatever it is, I feel like the reason you're being pulled toward it is because it's supposed to balance something within you or teach you some kind of lesson. And again, I just see a lot of fear here, like you're very, very closed off to that lesson instead of working with the energy like this lion up here. And I'm just seeing this hand. You see this hand coming out of the lion? There's just this feeling that like you relinquish your own control over the situation. You relinquish your own sort of, not fully relinquish your own will, obviously we should, but there is an element, a need to surrender, and you're like really not ready to do that. This lion's blindfolded. They're not ready to see the truth of the situation almost. Yeah, and whereas this lion has 6 eyes. That's a lot of eyes, so, you know, I think this lion knows what's up. So, yeah, I think the more you, like, try to deny how the situation pulls at you, the more powerful it is in your mind. So yeah, again, the Knave of Swords, I do see this as a surrender card, a definite need for surrender. The tools of the mind are not going to really fully be able to understand whatever powerful subconscious or whatever higher or lower forces are at play. It's not on a conscious level. It's either on like a higher level like Justice, or it's on a more deep instinctual level like the Devil. But either way, you may be thinking around in circles in this situation, and all you're doing is building these walls higher and higher, which is going to make it that much harder when, you know, the storm does hit. It's just gonna shake your foundations that much more. Yeah, so with the Queen of Cups underneath, I do think you're being called to, like, instead of focus on what feels out of control or what feels threatening, instead focus on what you most want, what your ideal situation is, and sort of like grow that ideal within your mind. Focus on that ideal. Just seeing the little cup inside of her stomach. She's gestating something beautiful, a wonderful potential that's going to bring her happiness and joy. And because this reading is focusing on the sort of Queen of Wands, the reason I chose that as a significator is because we all have the potential to be incredibly abundant manifestors. That's the idea, at least. That within us, within our souls, there is that ability to call beautiful things toward us when we're aligned with beauty and joy and truth. But you're in this sort of more defensive energy, which is taking you out of alignment with your true manifestation potential. So there is sort of a need to like release and surrender, and just allow yourself the space to envision beautiful things for yourself instead of envisioning situations that are highly seductive yet terrifying at the same time, which is kind of what the Devil is for me. So with the Three of Swords, I do think you probably do have past pain that you're dwelling on. And I understand, yeah, why that would put you in this energy. But with this card, the apple's blindfolded, which is just funny. But yeah, I think that speaks to the way that pain can blind us from the truth. So you're being called to rely on your intuition rather than your past experience, which is a weird piece of advice because obviously in life, the best thing to do normally is to rely on your past experience to make future decisions. But this is instead asking you to sort of reconfigure expectations and sort of envision greater possibilities than what you've experienced in the past, because we don't want to keep remanifesting the same sort of painful situations. It's not about like going back into old situations and acting the exact same way either. It's kind of like part of this remanifesting new possibilities is looking at yourself, looking at your old choices, and empowering yourself to make better choices. And once you trust that you understand, I mean, yeah, I think it's fine to take time to think about what went wrong in the past. That's part of your healing process. But also part of the healing process is then like recognizing, learning from that experience, and allowing yourself to take risks in the future toward new experiences that can offer growth. And I do see that she has roots on her crown. I think that's really interesting, given that this card has roots as well. So I think maybe you're trying to be really grounded with your roots, like you're trying to be more practical, or at least that's what you're telling yourself, that this is a practical energy to be in, this defensive energy. The root chakra can be very much related to fear. And so you might want to work with mantras that have to do with releasing fear and allowing yourself to feel secure, because what I'm seeing here is that like you need to expand upward into your third eye and your crown chakra and allow yourself to envision greater possibilities than what you've experienced in the past. Because I think you are, with these two knights here, you're definitely feeling very called to action, even if you're not taking action. There's a part of you on a certain energetic level that's pushing towards some sort of fulfillment. And it does feel explicitly romantic with the Two of Cups here. But because the Two of Cups is underneath the Knight of Swords, which is definite like runner energy, which is sort of like back and forth, push-pull energy, this Knight of Swords reminds me of the Knight of Wands in the Waite-Smith tarot, that sort of like back and forth energy. Sort of, and again, there's this little storm cloud in the corner. It's like, this Knight of Swords is running around everywhere trying to avoid storms, not realizing that the erratic energy they bring to every situation is actually manifesting more storms. And if you see here, there is this little skull in between these Two of Cups. And so I think, as well as a skull right here. And I think it's saying that whatever sort of past pain you may be running from or trying to defeat or trying not to see, is like that is always going to be present, but it's not going to stop you from finding new, balanced, emotionally open, harmonious, and satisfying connections in the future. It's always going to be there. We're never going to fully transcend our pain, and that's fine. It just becomes part of our emotional landscape. This little skull has roots just like the flowers. It's all part of the environment, and it's all part of who you are. It's all, you know, it's part of your emotional makeup. There's really nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's like you can't really defeat the devil so much as you can only work with this energy to try to transmute it. It's like the devil corresponds to the lover's card. So there's that, just the idea that the devil's energy can be transmuted into something higher and something better, but you do have to work with that energy and acknowledge it in the first place. And so the path to your wish fulfillment, in contrast to this Knight of Swords, is the Knight of Cups, who is very much in one place, who is aligned, again, with the little cup. You've gestated this perfect vision, allowed yourself to dream of all the ways the situation can go right instead of all the ways the situation can go wrong. And then out of that sort of little hope, something so much bigger can bloom out of it. And again, with the roots, I'm just seeing that. It's like allowing the energy to rise and ascend, and see how this horse is reaching toward this little butterfly. It's like no matter how much pain you've gone through in the past, there is this little part of you that wants to feel joyful, that wants to be renewed, that wants to live. And that is the path to your wish fulfillment, your greatest abundance. It's like you have to sort of let your guard down, process your old feelings of pain. Instead of letting your pain and fear have power over you, you need to balance it. So yeah, I would say that you're right now, what you're attracting towards you is kind of a lot of strife, because the energy is really out of balance, and there's this Three of Swords. You need to take these swords out of your apple. you need to let that apple heal. And like allow your intuition to guide you, for sure. You need to, I don't know, this High Priestess is very, as my friend said, this High Priestess has Hierophant energy. She definitely, there's nothing terribly secretive about her in contrast to other High Priestesses. The information is right there. She's like wanting to show it to you. It's not a secret. All you have to do is allow your energy to sort of rise up. So I would definitely, if you're into this sort of thing, look into mantras about like, I release fear, I release doubt, or I have enough. Sort of meditations about security and abundance, because I would say your base chakra may be sort of holding you in a more fearful energy. That's one thing. And then also, yeah, just being aware of, sorry, I'm looking for my deck. Being aware of your past pain and allowing yourself to fully feel and process it. And look at the things that are not necessarily pleasant to look at. Take these blindfolds off. Allow justice to teach you these lessons. Okay, yeah, so you got the Knight of Swords again, which in this deck is the Knight of Flamingos, with the Six of Cups. So yeah, I definitely feel like when you stop running, when you stop sort of charging away from things that cause you pain, pain or doubt or make you feel vulnerable, then you find this very sweet, lovely soulmate energy. I mean, and I don't mean soulmate in a romantic way even, maybe what you're thinking about, but it's really just about, it's really just about a really innocent energy in this deck, because the Alice in Wonderland deck is very, very sweet. This is one of the sweetest cards, and it's not necessarily romantic, it's a kind of just about that sense of harmony within yourself, that sense of trust, playful exploration, and just, it's just a feeling of wholesomeness, of inner wellness. I'm trying not to think of words that are really lame, like goodness, but there is like a really, really sweet, wholesome sense to this card, a sweet, wholesome energy. Yeah, any other advice that I may have missed for group 2? No. There's the Lovers. Yeah, okay, so the Nine of Swords and the Queen of Swords with the Lovers reversed. Yeah, so I think if you are looking for some kind of either balance, or if you are specifically trying to attract a love connection right now is not really working for you, because with this Devil energy, since you're on a more lower fearful vibration, you are probably going to attract something that's going to play into that frequency, I guess you'd say. Yeah, because right now it's like you're caught between being really guarded and defensive, and then being really just sort of more, I want to say, I'm trying to think of how to say this tactfully, almost like being overwhelmed by something that's really sort of unhealthy and lower vibrational, which can be a very like strong fantasy of like, just like, it's almost like bad boy or like bad girl energy. Oh, that's so weird to say, but yeah, it's like how we sometimes fantasize about relationships that are really like passionate and like wild and turbulent, but ultimately like really unhealthy, and it's like, oh, it's so bad, like, oh, I hate him, he's so awful, but then it's like you really like it a little bit, like for a little while at least. So right now that's the frequency you're on. Whether or not you actually want that, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, and so, yeah, and maybe driving you a little bit crazy. It's possible you are thinking about a specific person right now as I'm talking, and this is someone who drives you fucking crazy. And I'm seeing the Queen of Flamingos, like, turning her back on that, like, almost just being like, no. And, like, that's the advice, actually, that I'm seeing, is that, like, instead of playing into these old connections that you might have that are just, like, type of, like, I don't know, just to put it lazily, like fuckboy type connections, instead of playing into that frequency or that vibe, just turn your fucking back on that and get into your manifestation potential with this. Like, fully, what do you want? Instead of like getting caught up in this energy of like, oh, I'm afraid of being hurt the way I have been in the past, Instead, focus on balancing your energy, not protecting yourself. This isn't about like slamming the door on things. It's about just like turning around and focusing, looking in a new direction and being like, what do I want? What can I learn from what went wrong in the past? What do I want to do differently this time? What do I want that to feel like? What do I want that to look like? And allow yourself to really gestate those possibilities. Because right now you're just in a really defensive energy, and it's keeping you trapped on a lower vibration, even though I can see that you want to move forward into something more beautiful and loving with these cards here and this card here. You have some healing to do before you can really attract something that's to your greatest potential, or to your greatest good. Yeah, and that is what I see for you. Yeah, I mean, but I just want to say before you go, like, I do see beautiful potential here. Like, this is your final row, which is, like, I'm just going to show you again. This is what you can move toward. Like, you absolutely have the potential. Very beautiful energy. And I want that for you. So, good luck. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Hello and welcome. If you picked the Witch of Wands, which is vaguely analogous to Queen of Wands. I also see the Witch as a bit of a knight. So, I do think, I'm assuming that you are, if you pick this group, that you are maybe more actively attracting things to your life than the other piles, just because the Witch of Wands has such an active energy. So I'm really interested to see how your reading goes. Excuse you, not yet. I'm going to shuffle on camera, so it might take a little while. Please feel free to skip forward as long as... Okay, sorry. Okay, interesting energy so far. I'm going to blame you for that. I think you have a lot of energy, whoever you are. Okay, I feel ready. These cards are so big. Alright, let's find that witch. Where is she? There's a lot of reversed cards in this deck, so interested to see how that's gonna go as well. Just, come on, baby. There she is. Okay, here we go. 1, 4, 3. Oh, another witch on deck already. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Jeez. 3, 4. Oops. And that's it. Okay. Very, very interesting energy. Your bottom deck was the Seven of Discs. But I don't really read bottom deck in this energy, or this type of reading, so I don't know why I did that. How many cards do you have? 14? I cannot fit 4. I'm just gonna put these ones like this, because I hate it when they're not somewhat real, or not realistically. Whoa, okay, yeah. My brain's suddenly feeling really scattered. Okay, so definitely I see that in the past you may have been in an energy of calling things toward you. I have to show you the cards. My energy got really scattered really fast. Okay, so obviously this is your significator, followed by the Witch of Cups in the reverse. This is what it looks like upright. The Death card right in the center. Come on, focus, baby. Can you focus? Okay, it looks like an alien. I guess that's fine. It's a very weird looking card. Sorry if you didn't enjoy looking at it. 5 of Cups. 3 of Wands. Love that card. 9 of Discs. The Shadow of Discs. Oh, that really doesn't show up, does it? There we go. It's a wasteland, as you can see. The Empress. That's upright. The Beast of Cups. A frog. The 7 of Cups. The Beast of Discs. A pig. Crossroads. Shadow of Wands. And 10 of Swords. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, with the Witch of Cups in the reverse, right after the Witch of Wands, I feel like in the past, you have been in more of an attractive energy where you've been pulling things towards you, but now you're really ready to fucking burst out of that and be more proactive and really more actively bring things into your life. With the Death card, like, almost in the very center of the spread, in the very center of the top row, I do think you're going through a huge transformation. Yeah, in the past, I feel like you may have felt like you were in more of a disempowered energy. You may have been... This card corresponds to prayer. I think you may have been sort of praying for things to come to you and really wishing and hoping and sort of, you know, sort of maintaining a positive mindset. Being, yeah, definitely in more of a yin energy, being in more of a flow. But you're sort of turning a corner with that, and I think you're now starting to get, the energy is starting to rise more. I'm getting like an energy rising feeling. And with these snakes, I sort of get the feeling of new knowledge, new ways of doing things. You're getting more active, more proactive, definitely. And there's more of like a seeker energy. Whereas before you were sort of asking for the answers to come to you, now I feel like you're going out into the world to seek what you want. With the 9 of Discs here, yeah, I definitely see you moving out into your wider community. There may be people out there with things to teach you, or maybe things to give you. I think with the Shadow of Discs reverse, you may have been in sort of like, you may have been going through like a shadow period. I feel like you may feel like you're coming out of the wasteland almost. Yeah, like this energy of like prayer and trying to pull things toward you may not have been as successful as you wanted it to be, and you may have ended up in a very emotionally depleted state. Like maybe you were waiting for something to come to you for a very long time, and then it never materialized, and you started to get you started to feel sort of disempowered. You started to feel like anxious or almost like betrayed, I feel like, in a weird way, for some of you. Really disappointed. Like with the Empress, I'm just seeing her hands, like there was something really, really dearly wanted and hoped for and wished for and prayed for. It makes me think of those old fairy tales, you know, about like a beautiful old woman and her husband, and all they wanted was like a little baby, and they wished and prayed, and then like a kind fairy or god or something like blessed them with a strange little magical child. And I feel like you were kind of, not literally that you're like a beautiful old woman who's wishing for a child, but like you were in that energy of really fervently, like really patiently and passively waiting for something, and then it didn't materialize. And it made you feel really disempowered, and it was through this disempowerment that you found your own creative potential with the Witch of Wands. I'm saying there's like this coffin shape, obviously, and then there's like a door where a vagina would be, and I'm sorry if that makes anyone uncomfortable, that image. But yeah, it's sort of like this weird creative potential that's not like the fertile Empress energy. It's more, it's on a more psychic level. It's kind of like, yeah, coming out of this really disempowered, emaciated, with death in the shadow of discs. It's really, like you were underfed on some deep emotional or spiritual level, and you were seeking and seeking and seeking, but it just like wasn't coming toward you. Yeah, with the Beast of Frogs, it just feels like you were out of harmony with your environment. Like there wasn't enough of water, like the waters of life were not flowing down on you, and your little froggy skin was getting like dried out. I'm picturing like, and don't take this the wrong way, but I'm picturing like a worm on the pavement when they're like all dried out and you have to like rescue them and put them in the dirt. It's like you were waiting for someone to pick you up and put you back in the beautiful, moist, nourishing dirt. And if you don't like dirt or worms, then I'm sorry for that metaphor. This is a worm supporting zone, so get into it. Worms are very important to the environment. Never mind, that's not important. I'm getting heated. Anyways, so, and I feel like with this Three of Wands energy, it's like you've had to release, with the Seven of Cups, you've had to release the energy of fantasizing. The thing about fantasizing is it can be a way of like retaining control within ourselves, because reality can be so unnourishing, and it can be so unsatisfying that sometimes we stop trusting reality. With this Empress reverse, we stop trusting reality to give us what we want. And so we retreat into our inner worlds where we can be more satisfied, where we can control what happens, where we can manifest our greatest fantasies, even if it's just in bed before we go to sleep. But with this Three of Wands, I'm saying you need to release that energy and start actually, I mean, you don't have to actually become a witch. Like, I'm not saying buy a cauldron and, like, get some Eye of Newt and Toe of Frog. But, whatever your version of craft is, how you set your intentions and enact them, that is where you're attracting things. Like, it's a much more attractive, it's a much more active, attractive potential. Now is not the time to try to draw things to you. Like the Witch of Cups in this deck is the Siren. But whatever's out there for you, you do have to more actively move toward it. Keep raising your vibration. That's what I see. So the Beast of Discs reversed is really interesting. I think for me what I'm seeing with this is lean times, because you see this pig is like so fat and happy and loving life. But with it reversed, I think the situation you're in is not really, there's just not enough for you with these beasts reversed. I feel like that means the environment is not suited toward your energy or your greatest potential. With this Nine of Discs, again, it's like you have to move out into the wider world. And with the Crossroads, that's also, the Crossroads right next to the Shadow of Wands. You have the Nine of Discs next to the Shadow of Discs, and then the Crossroads next to the Shadow of Wands. It is like you're being called to move away from these environments that have nothing to offer you. Yeah. The Crossroads corresponds to the Lover's card, but in this deck, it's all happening on an internal level. It's about the different dualities within yourself. It's more than duality. This is actually facing in 3 different directions. So you have pretty wide open possibilities. I think 3 is a very powerful number for you. But there's this need to like pay attention to your energy more than anything. The way you're balancing your energy is kind of the most important element of your attractive capability, and it has to do with the environment. The environment, you need to either change your environment so that it nourishes you, or you need to move to be in a different environment. You need to venture out of your comfort zone to find something new. Because it does seem like once you move through sort of the wasteland, and I mean, it's almost like you need to move inward to explore yourself, because as you see, this is a face. You need to explore your own shadow. Because as you come, I think with this energy rising and you realizing your own potential, your own transformative potential, there is a danger of not confronting your own shadow aspects. That's part of your journey. That's part of you becoming more empowered, is understanding the way that you can sabotage yourself, the way that the imbalanced forces inside of you can work against you. With the crossroads corresponding to the Lovers, which is Gemini, there's this idea that like one part of you may be working towards some goal consciously, and then there's like this shadow part of you that might be working against you. And I don't mean that in a really dramatic way. We all sabotage ourselves in little ways because we'd rather be like comfortable, or we'd rather something be easy, or we'd rather not have to push out of our comfort zone, basically. But yeah, it's like there's this greater truth that's waiting for you. And I don't feel that this Ten of Swords is negative the way the Waite-Smith Ten of Swords is. I think these are kind of like the swords of truth, and they will pierce through you, but anything that can be sort of pierced or wounded by the swords of truth is not really a vital and true part of who you are. That's ego illusion. And obviously it hurts to lose our ego illusions, but it's like, it's a door that needs to be stepped through. It's a road that needs to be explored. And the more we embrace the truth, the more that we embrace just like the search for the truth, the search for real self-knowledge and self-understanding, the more we can work within our own power, obviously. And, you know thyself, as they famously quote. I think it was the Temple of Delphi. No one ever quotes other sayings written on the walls of the Temple of Delphi, like, don't forget you are a stranger. That's my favorite. I feel very called to share that with you. I don't know why. Don't forget you are a stranger. Yeah. Yeah, go somewhere new. That's something I'm, like, getting for you. I don't know why. But there's a need to move and explore. And it doesn't, I don't mean, like, literally, like, move to South America. But, I mean, in some, it can be metaphorical. Explore a new community. It could be something as simple as that. Try a new hobby. I just saw 1616 on my camera. That's the number of the tower. So yeah, shake up your life a little bit. That'll increase your attractive potential. Eight of Cups reversed. That's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? Why'd the Eight of Cups reversed come out? Oh wait, okay. Jump out. Tell me something. Okay. So we have the Fool. The Fool in between the Eight of Cups and the Eight of Swords. So yeah, I'm definitely getting the feeling that in the past, you were in situations that absolutely were not empowering you, that were not bringing out your greatest and best potential. So yeah, you're needing to release this habit of running away from things that are emotionally overwhelming or emotionally painful, and actually move toward those emotions in order to face them. Move into the shadow land. Because once you get through this shadow, you get to the real light of truth. And also, yeah, you need to release... Sorry, my voice always goes by this point in the readings. I hate it. Yeah, you don't need to overthink or even like, yeah, you're more powerful than you know. You feel like you have to ask for things. You feel like you have to wait for things to come towards you. I see this little frog just like sitting on the banks of some little river, waiting for the water to rise and like inundate it and renew it and refresh it, keep it, you know, moist and happy and healthy. But instead the waters are retreating and shrinking, and so the frog's just waiting and waiting for the water to come and rise and engulf it and take it home, when actually the frog needs to get up on its little froggy legs and move and find those waters. You're being called to move more than anything. With the Fool, just do it. Just move. Move through this death energy. Because it's only through the death, moving through the death energy, can you reclaim your abundance. The way that like rotten, dead things eventually fertilize new plants. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Interesting. Okay. The Knight of Flamingos and the Ace of Cups. Let's do one more. And the Empress upright. Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay, so with the Knight of Flamingos, I think whatever path you take, you need to stick with it. That's definitely something that seems important. Is that maybe in the past you like to make moves in the right direction, but when things get challenging, it's possible you kind of swing back and go the other way. With the crossroads, I can kind of see you going back and there's like back and forth through the roads, and it's like, you can't live at the crossroads forever. There's nothing there for you. Yeah, it's like this fresh start. This Ace of Cups. The opportunity comes from the fresh start. I mean, it's kind of like a closed feedback loop almost. Once you commit to having a fresh start, that's when the fresh start comes. But you have to be in that mindset. I mean, the Fool is wearing the Ace of Hats on his head. It's the same sort of thing. So as soon as you put yourself in the mindset of having a fresh start, of being renewed, that's when the transformation takes place. And that's you. I think you are meant to be in an Empress energy. That's why it came out upright here. But it is sort of like your disempowered thinking, sort of expecting abundance to be coming, to be brought towards you from an outside source, when really it's supposed to be discovered within and then radiated outward. That's what I get with these two cards, is that you're asking for this Empress abundance to be sort of rained down on you, when really it is supposed to, it's energy rising within you that flows outward naturally when you're fully in tune with yourself. But yeah, it's like you do have to move through the wasteland, fully commit to that sort of internal journey. And I know that's such a weird, vague thing to say, and I'm sorry. But yeah, it is just like you're being called to be very brave. That's what I see. And whatever the Shadow of Wands is, I think it is, yeah, it's something you don't want to feel or see. But it is ultimately the truth here. Your highest truth. And you can reach your greatest potential once you've acknowledged kind of that highest truth within you. Your bottom deck is the King of Coins. King of Oysters. So yeah, I definitely see a ton of creative potential with the King of Oysters and the Empress here twice. But you're needing to allow yourself to push forward, take big risks, and move toward a new, fresh start before that can happen. Yeah, and that's what I see for you. I hope that reading was helpful. I really enjoyed reading for you. And see you later.